today's reading, I'll be reading about true love and true marriage by Reverend Sun Myung Moon. And what is true love? It does not refer to the selfish love that is strewn about in the secular world. It is not the counterfeit love given one moment and abandoned in the next. It is not self-indulgent, profligate love driven by fleshly desire. Such false love assails and violates conscience, driving nails in the original mind. True love, on the other hand, is the source of peace and spiritual order. It is natural to honor and preserve the public tranquility. It is humanity's shared inheritance that serves the common benefit of all people. It symbolizes God's intention and power, for it's rooted in God. Aju.
Yeah, my wife and I, as you know, travel, and we've been traveling to various communities around America and also Canada. Everybody knows Canada, right? We live in Western Canada at the moment. We lived in New York City for 12 years, and in 1994 moved back with our 5 children because, as you heard, our eldest daughter went to Spirit World, and some of you may remember that. Some of you were at headquarters when my wife was volunteering there, and she passed away after Hoongjin went to Spirit World and before Father went to Danbury. So she's been in Spirit World for a number of years, and we were so amazed that we got a phone call that she had been matched in Spirit World. Wow, amazing. We never kind of thought about that, but so in 2000 she was blessed in Spirit World. So we're really fortunate, really blessed, and since we've moved back to Western Canada, you know, we really wanted to be part of our movement. We lived in the Vancouver community for a number of years and then moved to a small city to take care of my parents, who were elderly, even older than I am. So we moved to this little community, 120,000 people, no members, no church, 5 hours drive to the nearest church. So we figured, how are we going to stay connected? How are we going to contribute? So we trained and became matching supporters, matching advisors, we called them back then. So since then, we've been working with Mrs. Dagodi in the BFM as matching supporters and coordinators of the matching supporters. So we're so grateful that we can travel the country, we can talk to brothers and sisters, and hope to bring some hope in the matching process. But through the matching process, we realized that, you know, it's not just the matching that is a challenge for each of us. We're challenged every day, right? You feel challenged? Some days anyway, you feel a challenge, right? So today I would like to suggest that if we consider our challenges an opportunity as we seek true love, if we have a little bit of a different kind of thinking process about the challenges that we face virtually every day, then maybe it'll make it easier for us to move ahead and to grow and to become the heavenly sons and daughters that God really needs us to be. So, opportunity, seeking true love. And you've heard the definition, or one of the definitions that our true parents have offered as far as true love. What is true love? Unconditional giving. Unconditional giving without expecting anything in return. So one of the people that in the secular world, if I can call it that, Dr. Greg Bear, some of you know him, he's written a series of books called Real Love that I recommend. I recommend the Real Love in Marriage, Real Love in Dating, which is one that I suggest to our parents and candidates in the matching process. It should actually be called Real Love in the Matching Process, right? Because we don't actually date in our movement, but you know, we work together, parents and children, to find matches, the ideal match for our sons and daughters. And so Real Love in Dating can give us a lot of wisdom, guidance, and understanding about how to become better people and how to seek and to give true love. So here is Greg Bear's definition of love. He calls it real love. Unconditionally caring about the happiness of another person without any thought for what we might get for ourselves. Same as true love, isn't it? True love, it's the same. So here are the 3 important points that I recommend and request for parents and candidates as we do the matching preparation workshops. Unite, listen, and persevere. Those are the 3 things. You know, when we have a family matching workshop, by the end of the day, people are a little overwhelmed. There's just a lot of information that we present and a lot of things we discuss, and it can be very overwhelming. So I suggest 3 things. Just remember 3 things from today. Unite, listen, and persevere. Never, never give up. And there's one more point I'd like to add, and that's called opportunity. Opportunity. And you may be thinking, well, you know, this is nice, but what does that really mean? Well, opportunity is a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. A set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. So we can get depressed. We have an opportunity to get depressed every day, right? Or angry, or frustrated, or resentful. We have that opportunity. But if we choose to think opportunity is a challenge, is an opportunity that can help us to become better people, a better person. A challenge, if we face it and we do our best to overcome it, can help us to grow our hearts, to grow our character, our spirit, to become better people. So every challenge can be an opportunity, depending upon how we think about it, how we reflect on it, how we face it. So now we have an opportunity to witness. We have an opportunity to campaign to support our true parents coming to America. The Peace Starts With Me rally is coming really soon. It'll be upon us. And this is really unique because I think it's the very first time that we in America have invited True Mother to come. Mother, we're having this big event. We really need you to come and speak. Whew. That's pretty profound. And of course, it's not just Mother. We know physically Mother will be there, but True Father will be there as well. And you think maybe the able spirit world will be there too? Maybe our ancestors will be there? Whew, I bet. I mean, that stadium will be filled with physical people, but it'll be overfilled with the spiritual realm. So here's an opportunity for us. Speak to our neighbors, our family, friends, people on the street. You know, we're offering the blessing, you know, to bring 430 couples, right? We're all trying to do that, and that may be a big challenge, and some of us may be a little bit intimidated by that. Speaking for myself. And the Peace Starts With Me rally. Well, we live in Western Canada. We're not likely going to fly anybody from Western Canada out to the Peace Starts With Me rally, but we had a brief meeting, a lunch meeting with Dr. Kim in New York last week, my wife and I, and some of our brothers and sisters, and he knows that we're touring the country, and I happened to mention that we're going to be in Minneapolis the weekend of the Peace Starts With Me rally. He said, no, you must come. So, as a matter of fact, the Minneapolis weekend workshop is canceled or postponed because they're building a new building and it won't be ready anyway. So there's no way we could be there for that. So we've rescheduled that, we pushed it back, we'll work out something else, but I'm happy to report that thanks to some wonderful brothers and sisters, they're going to help us fly back to the Peace Starts With Me rally. So we're really grateful that we will have an opportunity as well to participate, along with all of you. You'll all be there, right? Yes. We'll see you there. Right. Anyway, this is great, and so we're really grateful. But I'd like to suggest that the only way we can be victorious is through love. Through love. And so what our true parents have brought is this great blessing. And sometimes true parents have given us a tremendous course of challenge, especially in our marriages. Our first generation brothers and sisters, our true parents, I don't think, matched us to be happy. They didn't say, oh, you look like a nice couple, you'll be happy together, so I'm going to match you. I don't think so. Not based on some of the challenges that we have faced and continue to face in our relationships. So what I would like to suggest is, As husband and wife, even when we struggle, which we all do, I mean, that's typical of marriage, whether it's a happy marriage or not, right? We all struggle. We have conflicts and disagreements. But even if we can barely stand the sight of each other, no, I know nobody's in that category, right? Even if our husband and wife, we have a little bit of a hard time together, I suggest that we can create some condition of unity to allow God to work in our relationship. So some condition. And it might be prayer together, it might be studying Hundake together, it might be going on a date or something like that, but some kind of condition. And even if our relationships are really challenged, there's something that we can do as a couple, as parents, as mom and dad, as a blessed couple, to unite, to work together, to allow God to be part of our relationship. So God works through unity. Our Heavenly Parent is longing to work through us. You know, in the video this morning, Mother mentioned that God didn't expect to have families that were not united in true love. He expected us, our families, our ancestors, to be true families, right from the very beginning. We're in many cases a long ways from that now. But if we can remember that God loves us, that each one of us is God's son and God's daughter. My spouse is God's daughter. How can I disrespect God's daughter? Surely I must be able to see the beauty in my wife that God sees, the beauty in my husband. Somehow there's got to be something that God loves, right? It's true. So if we can look at our spouse in that way, from trying to have God's eyes, God's perspective, and really do our best to unite, to create some kind of condition to allow God to be present. And one thing that can be very helpful is praying together. Praying together as a couple. Dating, going on activities together. These are activities that can really help to bring us closer. So how do we do it? Go on a date, go for a walk, go for a cup of coffee. Even if you know you have such a strained relationship that you can barely talk to each other, go on a date. The kids will be happy, I promise. Kids will be ecstatic. Mom and Dad are going on a date. Whew, that's great. And even if you have such a hard time communicating and connecting with each other, the first date over a cup of coffee, you just play on your cell phone or your iPad, whatever you're doing, the first date. The next date, though, you have to talk to each other, at least a couple sentences. How was your day? Right? Something like that. Somehow connect, communicate, somehow spend some time together and invest in each other. Going on a family trip for young couples and young families. I found out later in life that our kids really, really appreciated these family trips that we went on, even though, you know, we were all crammed into a very small minivan and, you know, 5 kids and 2 adults, and thank God I was the driver, so, you know, I had a little more room. But with 5 kids in the back seat or rotating, and it's a bit of a challenge. So we live in Western Canada. We would drive periodically to Minnesota, where my wife's family lives. 3 days in this tiny little minivan. Sometimes a little uncomfortable. And then, of course, we went camping because we couldn't afford motels or anything else. So, you know, camping, you got a tent in the back and everybody's got a sleeping bag. And so, you know, you're driving. At the end of the day, the kids are getting a little upset, a little uptight because I've been traveling all day. Around dusk or maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, you start looking for a campsite because you got to stop and feed the kids, and they need a break, and they're starting to get upset or fight. I don't know if your kids ever fight, but ours did. I know yours never did. But so, you know, you pull over. The first campground is full, so you know, that's the way it is. So keep going, and by this time it's getting dark, and finally you find a campground that's open. And you pay the $20 or whatever. It was fairly cheap back in those days. And then you pull out the tent. And of course, now it's starting to rain. Always. That seems like Murphy's Law. It's going to start raining as soon as you start pitching your tent. So we pitched the tent in the rain. And then the mosquitoes come out and you're getting... So finally you get the tent up. And by this time the kids are, you know, really uptight because they're tired and they're hungry, and mom's trying to cook something and it's raining, and oh man. You know, I really enjoy camping if we can stay in a Holiday Inn. That's my idea of camping. Or this little camper van that you see out parked next door, that's okay. I can do that. I wouldn't want 5 kids in there. But so that's my idea of camping. But it turns out that our kids really enjoyed camping. They really enjoyed those events together. And you know, when you share a challenging situation with your family, it can be a really bonding experience. I learned too late. Well, at least I learned. But those kinds of experiences, even though they may be miserable for me, does that really matter? It's a nice story to talk about now, but anyway, the key thing is our kids really appreciated that, and our family bonded a little bit better because of that. So I recommend going on a family trip together. Even if you have to tent, it's good. It's a good experience. Praying together as family and as couples is really important. First generation, we've done lots of conditions, so doing conditions is a tremendous thing, can really help God to be part of our relationship. So now we're talking about unity between husband and wife, mom and dad, primarily. That's what I'm expressing. And one of the things that is really important is learning to listen. Learning to listen, and especially, husbands, sometimes we have a really hard time listening. One of our brothers came to me one time, an older brother who was blessed a little later in life, and he said, you know, I have such a hard time listening to my wife. She just talks and talks and talks and talks. I just get so tired of it. So I said to him, well, what would you be doing that's more important? I learned a lot from that comment, because what is more important than bonding with your spouse, connecting with your spouse, learning to listen when your spouse shares with you. And especially us men, sometimes we are not so good at listening. Speaking for myself, I don't know about you guys, you're all probably really good at that. But anyway, we can all be better listeners. So that's one really important way that we can work together to help to bring better unity. And here's another interesting point. Couples that pray together have a 1 in 10,000 divorce rate. 1 in 10,000 of couples that pray together, according to research done by a guy called David McLaughlin in The Role of the Man in the Family. You can Google that and find out. Dr. Phil quoted him, so it must be true, right? Dr. Phil's always right, isn't he? The point is not 10,000 or 1,000. Let's say it's 1 in 100. Couples that pray together, if one couple in 100 divorces, wow, that could be really powerful in building stronger couples, building stronger families, bringing couples together. And so when we pray together, I don't mean couples praying together and the husband says, "Dear God, make my wife a better cook. I hope she can learn to clean house better. Dear God, make my husband, get him that promotion so he can bring home more money." That's not what I mean praying together. What I mean is praying for peace starts with me. Praying for true parents. Start with the biggest things, with the blessings that God has given us. And pray for your children, for your brothers and sisters. You know, we have many brothers and sisters who struggle really a lot. And so as we can pray together for each of them, I hope that they can feel hope, that they can feel God's love. So as we pray together as couples, it builds our relationship and also really creates a positive, powerful environment for the spirit world to work. The second most important point that I always recommend at the family matching preparation workshops is learning to listen. And as I mentioned, sometimes, especially husbands, maybe especially wives too, we're not always good listeners. So listening is really important. And when you think about it, listening really builds a relationship of trust. In order to love somebody, you need to trust them. Love comes on the foundation of trust. You cannot give your heart completely to a person you cannot trust. So trust is fundamental to a beautiful and loving relationship. Fundamental. And listening, active listening, is part of that, building that relationship. Learning to listen is a remarkable advantage in building a loving relationship. When you listen intently to some person, they really feel loved. They feel respected. They're really grateful. Try it out. Go home and take turns listening to each other. Try it out. So it builds respect, it builds love, and can really help to bring a deeper sense of unity in a family. Listening is a learned skill. Did you hear that? Whoa, listening is a learned skill. Oh, we can all be better at listening. And there is a brother called Bento Leal that many of you know. He's written a book called 4 Essential Keys to Effective Communication. Now, I don't get a cut of these sales, but I'm telling you that this book is really great. It can really help you to become a better listener, and you can get it on Amazon. And there are some great techniques. So in every part of our lives, not just husband and wife, not just parents and children, but every part of our lives, if we can become better listeners, we can become better people. We can be stronger. So the third important point is never giving up. Persevering. One of my favorite biblical stories is the story of Jacob at the ford of Jabbok. And as I understand it, the angel was this really big, strong being, not a person, but a being, an angel, right? And Jacob was, a scrawny little guy, maybe like me, not very, powerful, but the angel was just a big and tough. And so there was no way Jacob could beat him. He couldn't pin him down or beat him up. He couldn't do that. But he never gave up. And so therefore he won, because the angel, I think the story goes, the angel had to leave at dawn. Couldn't be out in the daylight. Anyway, so Jacob never gave up. Even with a broken hip, because the angel broke his hip, he never gave up. And so he won. He won that battle. He never gave up. So perseverance is so important. When you're competing, let's say you're going to run in the Olympics. Do you just register, you jump into the Olympics, and you win the race? Of course not. Anything where we are required to compete, we need to train. We need to discipline ourselves, to work really hard for a long period of time. So if you're going to the Olympics or playing in a professional sports team or any kind of competition, we need to work hard and train and practice, sometimes for many years. And then we run in the race for 5 minutes and the race is over. So life is like that. Relationship, building unity between husband and wife. It takes practice. It takes constant effort. And even when we make mistakes, hopefully we can forgive ourselves. Our spouse usually forgives us. God always forgives us. But we have a hard time forgiving ourselves sometimes. So it's really important that we just never, never, never give up. Keep making the effort no matter what we're trying to do. This is the challenge that is an opportunity to help us to grow and to become better people, to grow our hearts and our ability to love, to grow our spirit. When we persevere and when we work really hard to make a victory, to bring victory, God will work with us. God in the spirit world will work with us. And one of the things that I learned, and I'm still working on, is that when I'm ready to give up, so is Satan. You know, that other guy, the evil guy, Satan, that guy's ready to give up when I am. So if I can persevere longer, like Jacob at the ford of Jabbok, just persevere, then I can bring victory. So that's really, really important, because sometimes we just feel, I cannot do this any longer. So there's the challenge that is our opportunity to bring victory if we don't give up. So 4 things to remember. Unite. Through unity, we can become the source of true love. Wow. I can become a source of true love? Whew. And that's true of each of us. We are all God's sons and God's daughters. We're all God's children. So if we can work together, we can unite, we can bring victory at the Peace Starts With Me rally, right? We can. We can do it. We work together and God can work. In our marriage, in our relationships, at work or at school, if we can unite, with a righteous determination to accomplish for God, God can work through us. And in our relationships, very often, we've made mistakes, we've said things or done things that hurt the other person. So very often, a good place to start is with a very sincere apology for any mistake, for anything that I've said that could have hurt. A good place to begin can be an apology. And that can open the hearts a little bit, hopefully, so that then a deeper sense of unity and love can follow. And if we never give up and just keep at it, God will work. And one more thing. If we consider our challenges an opportunity, then with that little bit different perspective, it can give us more power and a redetermination to continue, to never give up and to bring the victory. So every challenge can be an opportunity. Opportunity could be a difficult experience, but it's up to us to make the choice. We can choose to bring victory. We can choose to have a good heart, a good attitude. We can choose to never give up. And we can consider every challenge an opportunity so that we can become better people, so that we can become God's true sons and daughters and establish a true family. And we are so blessed to have our true parents. So blessed to have our true parents. If your ancestor was one of the 12 disciples of Jesus, you'd be so proud. If your ancestor was the woman who touched Jesus' robe, knowing that she would be healed, if she could just touch his robe, if that was your ancestor, wouldn't you be so proud? Wow, that's amazing. That's my ancestor. But when you think about it, we're in the family of true parents. True parents are here on this earth right now, and we are in their family. We have truly been blessed. So this is our opportunity. This is our chance to grow. Whatever challenges we face, and I know each one of us has a different challenge, but when we overcome, when we bring a victory, we're helping to heal God's aching heart. When we see the challenge as an opportunity, we can offer it to heaven. And no matter what our struggle or our challenge, if we can have a good heart, then God can receive our offering. God can receive the effort that we make to bring unity and to bring harmony and to create a better world. So let's join together in prayer.